All right, today we're jumping into a really fascinating part of AI, a world where machines pretty much become detectives. They learn to find hidden meaning all on their own, just by sorting through the chaos of raw, messy data.
I mean, just think about it for a second. Every single day, we're all creating this massive tidal wave of information. Purchase histories, website clicks, all our social media interactions. It's this giant ocean of data, and somewhere in there are these crucial stories and patterns. So the real question is, how on earth do we find them?
And this is where it gets tricky, because most of this data doesn't come in nice, neat packages. It's unlabeled. There's no tag telling an AI, hey, this is a high-value customer, or watch out, this is a fraudulent transaction. Nope, it's just a gigantic, chaotic jumble of information.
Right? When you don't even know what you're looking for, where do you even begin? Well, this is where our hero comes in. A special kind of AI that's like a data detective, one that actually thrives in all that ambiguity.
And that's unsupervised learning. The name really says it all. To deal with that chaotic, unlabeled data, there's no supervisor, no teacher giving it the answers. The AI is basically just handed the dataset and told, go find the inherent structure in here. It learns by observation, not by instruction.
To really wrap your head around it, it helps to compare it with the more traditional way, which is supervised learning. That's kind of like studying with flashcards, right? You see a question, you guess, and the card tells you if you're right or wrong. But unsupervised learning, that's more like being dropped into a brand new city and figuring out the different neighborhoods just by walking around and seeing which areas feel similar to each other.
And that really gets to the core of it. This isn't about predicting an outcome we already know. It's about exploration. It's for those moments when you just have to ask the data, okay, what's interesting in here that I'm completely missing?
And what it finds can be an absolute game changer. The algorithm might uncover entirely new groups of customers you never knew you had. It could spot some weird network activity that signals a new kind of cyber attack. It's just fantastic at finding those critical patterns that a human analyst, well, we might never even think to look for them in the first place.
Okay, so that's all the theory, but what does this actually look like in the real world? Let's make it super concrete with an example.
So, picture a big online retailer. They've got millions of transactions, but honestly, no clear idea who their shoppers really are. They don't have these nice pre-made labels like Bargain Hunter or Brand Loyalist. All they've got is this sea of raw data: who bought what, when they bought it, and for how much.
So here's how it goes down, from total chaos to a bit of clarity. First, you feed all of that messy transaction data right into the unsupervised model. Then, the algorithm does all the heavy lifting. It sifts through everything, looking for shoppers who behave in similar ways. And remember, it's not being told what to find. It's just looking for natural clusters on its own. And finally, it spits out these distinct, data-driven groups of shoppers.
And voila, this is what it might find. The AI could automatically create segments just like these. You've got a huge group of low spenders, a solid group of regular mid-spenders, and maybe a small but really important group of high spenders. The incredible insight here is that the retailer didn't define these groups. The data itself revealed them.
And this is why it is so incredibly powerful. This is where the rubber meets the road. The retailer can now go from just having raw data to taking real, targeted action. They can start asking smart questions like, how do we get the low spenders to buy one more thing? Or, what is it that our high spenders absolutely love? These AI-discovered groups become the foundation for a much, much smarter business strategy.
And look, this is not just about selling stuff. This exact same idea of finding hidden structure in the chaos, it applies across tons of different fields.
You see it everywhere. In cybersecurity, it's like a watchdog that spots a new kind of attack just by noticing that some network traffic doesn't fit the normal pattern. In social media, it can find emerging communities or new trends before they go viral. And honestly, for any data scientist who's facing a brand new, complex data set, it's the absolute essential first step to just understanding what you're even looking at.
There's this quote that I think just nails it. The human brain is incredible, of course, but we have our limits. We just can't mentally process millions of data points and see all the subtle connections between them. An unsupervised algorithm? It can.
So, after seeing how it works and where it's used, if you're going to remember just one thing from all of this, what should it be? It's this. Unsupervised learning is an explorer for the digital age. It takes a huge, intimidating mystery, that sea of unlabeled data, and it transforms it into meaningful, actionable structure.
It basically gives us a map, where before there was just a big, blank space.
And that really leaves us with a final, pretty exciting thought. As our data gets more and more complex, I'm talking about everything from the human genome to data from the far reaches of space, what incredible new patterns are just lying there in wait, ready for a machine to discover them? The exploration is really just beginning.